Greetings, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I'm going to be taking us on into the ocean area, and I wanted to go ahead and just show you where the sun is appearing from this vantage point. We can clearly see it there, and then the moon is high in the sky over here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick with my compass here that the sun is coming up in the northeast, and then it's going to set in the northwest. Okay. Meanwhile, last night the moon came up over the house there. I took a photo of it. Southeast, and then it's going to set in the southwest. So to be clear, the sun and the moon move a different course over the stationary level Earth. I wanted to go ahead and break that down a little bit on my drive in. The hashtag Robert Forsch is a way to cross over the social media platforms that I'm on. And there's a lot of censorship. I hashtagged LBRY because that is a platform I am going over to, and I'll stay up on YouTube as long as I'm able as well. All right, so what we've got today is the sun is appearing over the or not actually over the ocean from this vantage point. I'm about 10 feet above sea level right here, and I wanted to take us in for the drive, and it'll give me an opportunity to talk about a few of the dynamics that we're working with here. LBRY is an AI blockchain based technology that when I share the link, it's a very interesting program, by the way, and so I'm going to get into a little bit more of that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that when I shared the link on Facebook, it didn't allow it to be a functional link. I contacted the creators of the LBRY blockchain and let them know, and they acknowledged that Facebook is doing some censorship in that way too. It's AI, it's artificial intelligence, and it's all very interesting because it's a tool, it's a weapon of mass deception and instruction potentially. By irony and paradox, the deceived are unaware that they are in fact deceived. Yeah, when I was out typing in all my codes, or the title, there were some really eager mosquitoes to go ahead and take some samples. Isn't that special? So what I'm going to do is flip this around for a moment, show you a bit of how it looks as we drive in. And one of the dynamics too, the water is seeking its level on the glass as well. The aerodynamics moving on the water on the side acts against it. So I've hashtagged spinning water sphere lately. I know that people have talked about the spinning ball. It's not real. The globe in essence is not real. There's models of the globe. There's clear imaginary globes, and there's globes in the icons of the movies, the logos, and all that. But as far as being an actual, factual, wow, a lot of light coming through there, the globe isn't real. It's science fiction. So it doesn't matter how brilliant you believe you are, and you may have a genius IQ. I do. I tested for that, and that was pretty cool. But there's Jonathan Nash also tested as genius, and he was a bit odd. I'm a bit odd. When you look at your creative types, what do we do? Well, wanting to leverage worldwide instantaneous portable communications for the glory of God, using the cloud, using the World Wide Web and all of that to make that happen. Yeah, so I go the speed limit. Sometimes people don't like it. That's just too bad, isn't it? And that's part of the example of life as well. They can go around if they want to. When I race professional level motocross, here was one of the things that I had to keep in mind. I was on a video called Motocross King. It was Paul Ryden did it and sent it to me. He said he wondered what happened to the kid that he shot a video of like 40 years ago. Well, here I am, all grown up mostly. Anyway, I crashed in the first corner I was smacked into, and out of 60 motorcycles in a 15-minute moto, I worked my way up to 7th place, which was amazing. Now, it was really muddy, and the thing about it is I couldn't, there were a lot of ruts. Okay, deep ruts. I remember seeing a guy in cowboy boots jump to get out of the way of motorcycles, and his boots stayed in the mud. It was hilarious. He had the big handlebar mustache and all that. It's like, I've got a photographic memory. Not that I can read and remember a phone book, that's not necessary. I just remember things like that real visually, like Chromacolor, like, anyway. But the idea of these deep mud ruts, I couldn't, if I was in the mud rut behind somebody and they stall out, I'm done. So I would just go around them. And I would walk the track ahead of time, knowing where I would go, how I would do it, and it was brilliant. My third race ever on a motorcycle, it was on a mini bike, about 2 miles of track in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And with that in mind, I lapped everybody up to 3rd place. That was blisteringly fast. What happened was I trained with professionals. I actually practiced with professionals that traveled around and did this, and I learned from them, and I read and I studied, and so that's a part of it. How can we work around the system? That's where this analogy, where I'm going with all this, is there's a system of censorship, so I'll hashtag my name. Some people think, oh, how narcissistic. Oh, well, scroll on by if you want to. It's the one very unique thing that I have going for me in the world that's got a data set that's attached to it. My name, Robert Forsch. There's not very many of us, and I'm the #1 Robert Forsch hashtag in the world, as far as I know. Now, some of my work has been put down a digital quarantine, down a digital dirt road, trying to break out of that with LBRY. There are people that we have differing perspectives on in our view of God, creation, the world that we live in, all of that. I'm going over the coastal, in the waterway right here. Sun's approaching there, and the moon is setting over the waterway there. We're about 100 feet above sea level now, going down. Some of this, I have people comment they like the realism. It is real. This is real. It's a real battle. I'm a real guy. Genetically, I was born a boy, and I'm a man now. I'm not a modified androgyne. I'm using cybernetics. I'm using the World Wide Web and technology. As far as I know, I don't have any of it implanted. A little gallows humor there. I've got a lot of interesting stories in my life, and I'm not going to unpack all of them for you now. One of the things that I wanted to address now is we've got a full moon set and a sunrise, and I want to go to the optimal location to show you that. And it's a landmark location, meaning the Prince Resort in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. I'm on Sea Mountain Highway, approaching the ocean from this vantage point. So one of the dynamics is to try and give you a shot of it, a view of it, and as much of it as I can with some of the limitations like architecture and all of that. So I'll probably be driving to the, let me see. At this time, I've got to head right on over to the Prince Pier. That's where I'm, or the Prince Resort, Cherry Grove Fishing Pier. The data that I typically benefit from, the app is called Tides Near Me. It gives me a very accurate projection of the tidal activity, and then the percentages and the times of visibility of the sun and the moon, all of that. So to be clear, what I showed today at the beginning of this live broadcast on YouTube is that where the sun and the moon appear and vanish, they're running different courses, obviously. They're moving independently of themselves, and obviously there are different objects that we observe. That being said, the duration of visibility between one another, as well as the duration in a 24-hour cycle in the various seasons, varies substantially. That's the point of that. The ocean is up at the red light there, straight ahead, about a quarter of a mile down. So there was, maybe you noticed, no wind chime sound at the house. I've got 3 wind chimes hanging there and they weren't moving. Where in the world could a wind chime hang upside down? Well, only in the imagination. And then people will regurgitate, they'll throw up on me this official narrative about the relative position on the blah, 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 compared to the center of the earth, blah. Okay, I've had enough of that garbage. And besides, it's not just about the shape of the earth. It's about, if you can believe that ridiculous story of people living on a spinning water sphere with continents rising up out of it and people not flinging off. Oh well, maybe you'll always believe that lie. I don't know. So I'll get calls. I got calls last night, some joke prank calls, I'm sure. I add them to my contacts anyway. I got the call with no caller ID, or it was no identifier, and they kept calling back until I didn't pick it up until the number showed up. I don't always do that, but I try to find my workaround. So I sent them my playlists and my profile, and they wanted to know about storming Area 51 and what I think about lizard people and shapeshifters, and I can unpack a little bit of that now. There's a battle going on between God's family and Satan's family. Fallen angels, elect angels, demons, all of that. So I wanted to show you from down here that the sun is going to appear right in that area. And the moon is clearly right up there. I couldn't show you this yesterday because the moon was lower on the horizon, and there was a lot of moisture interfering with the view. So that's clearly the moon. I've got the picture I started the broadcast with. You can see the water is demonstrably flat and level. There would be no level in the world if we were spinning, wobbling, gyrating, going upside down, and all that. Okay, so I established the rather placid, calm water, and now it's time to take us for a ride over to the ocean. So I want to show the landmark locations. Once again, the puddles in the parking lot are in the low spots where the drains normally are that drain out into the ocean. We've all been programmed our whole life, and our parents before us. There's a symphony of neurotransmitters released into the bloodstream when a mother is pregnant watching a horror movie and doing whatever else. Taking drugs, illegal, legal drugs, they all have effects. Isn't that special? What's in your bloodstream? Like what's in your wallet? Like an Alec Baldwin God hater. I would have no problem interacting with any of the celebrities. If you want to put together a celebrity meetup with me and them, I wouldn't mind at all. It'd be probably kind of funny. I'm not intimidated by them. Most of them are fallen angel type demon possessed freak shows anyway, as far as I can tell. And that may sound cold and weird. Just look at the, who was it? Katy Perry. She wanted to be the Amy Grant of music, and it didn't work out, so she sold her soul to the devil. That's just what she did. Lady Gaga. Listen to the interviews of these Illuminati MK Ultra operatives. Wow. I'm not going to need to drive up in the parking ramp today. There's the moon high in the sky. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to throw the P1000 on it, and I'll have it posted later. I can't post the referral link for LBRY and it operate on Facebook. That's why I've got a YouTube video where that will be recognized. And okay, so yeah, here we go. Alrighty, coming in. Cool. And they're smoking. I can smell it. My sense of smell is like super acute. When I take my drinking water baths, I flush my sinus passages out with the baking soda, coconut oil, water, all of that. It may sound kind of weird. Well, I got news for you. I feel better than ever in spite of a lot of opposition. So I've got to lock this up. I'm going to grab a big gulp of water. Yeah, how about that? This water will seek level. And if I flip the container over, look at what happens. It'll happen over and over. It doesn't, it takes the shape of its container, is what it does. That's why I know we're not on a spinning water sphere. If you believe that, I know you're deceived. You may be a nice person, but if you believe you live on a spinning water sphere hurling through space, then you'd be deceived. All right. No nice way of saying that, is there? Okay, so I'm queuing up the P1000, starting another recording with that as well. Whoops. I have to get my comments out of the way. Sorry about that. I have, it's not that I'm not interested in what you have to say. Sometimes I don't read the chats most of the time when it's in real time. However, if you want to leave a comment, even a link, that's fine. All the links pretty much go into a folder that lets me evaluate it later to see if it's something I want in a comment on my post. So post away. That's totally cool. Good morning. So this is the iconic Prince Resort in Cherry Grove. And well, I'll just take us right on out. I should be able to show the moon in the swimming pool if I wanted to. Hi, Sally. Yeah, there's the moon right there. I'm gonna see about taking us right out on the pier. I think that'd be the best place to go. There's probably a 5 to 7 mile an hour wind coming out of the southwest. So at this point, let me cue up my compass. Let's see if I can show you. All right. It says I'm at 10 feet of elevation. That's about right, as best I can tell. Are you open to new information that may look different to you now? Good morning, Ron. So here's some of the data that we're looking at. There's the miles per hour breeze I was mentioning. That interacts with Coastal Carolina University and sensors that are out on the end of the pier. I interact with those young people as well. Spend a lot of time out here, so I meet a lot of very interesting people. Oh my gosh, looks like we've got a pentagram here. How about that? And a swastika. How about that? I love you, Satan, it says. Wow. I didn't put that there. So when I say that there's a battle going on, I'm not kidding. Now I can totally wipe that out if I wanted to. I may. The Satanists are probably watching right now, knowing that I would be coming out here today. How about that? They may have even been my prank callers last night. I talked to them. I asked them if they were recording the conversation and posting it up somewhere. Could be. Not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. How about that? It's a spiritual battle that we're in. I've never seen that carved in the sand before, just so you know. That was a pretty well thought out situation there. So I could go out there and cross it out. Could put a cross on it if I want. I could put a cross next to it. I could just leave it alone. What I do have is an audio Bible merged with the beauty of creation on my YouTube channel. Here comes my buddy Fred with this dog. Hey, you can see the, or I can see the moonlight on the water there. Higher is drier and lighter colored, lower is wetter. I would say if I want to show the sun actually coming out of its lowest visible point from here, I've got to go up on the top of the pier, which is where I'm going. I'm going to show you what direction this is, straight in line there, right? So when I was talking about Katy Perry selling her soul to the devil, not kidding, this stuff is real. It's not like I came out here last night and carved that in the sand to try and make a point. It's the reality of the battle that we're in. All that content showing MK Ultra, mind control, and the cybernetic collective of humanity, I've got it all on my channel, a lot of it. I got to tighten up one of my shoes. I've got an active wear kind of shoe, and I can go rock climbing, mountain climbing, out on the beach, all of that if I want to. So I'm going to zoom in on the swastika there. My buddy Fred walking through it. And then there's the I love you Satan and pentagram. Huh. Doggone it. Interesting. So I'll stay live as long as I can. I'll do the recording here, and then I'll come back and we'll see if any of the walkers decide they want to exact some how would we say, editing. Wow, awesome. The creation has God's fingerprints all over it. The creator that I'm talking about is known as Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua, the way, the truth, the life, the Alpha and Omega, the Most High, the Most Holy. He's my Heavenly Father. How about that? I didn't get the numbers on if the tide's coming up or not. I think it is. I know I showed you on the board. Good morning, y'all. Is the tide coming up right now and in?
I don't know.
Yes.
It is. Thought so. Thanks a lot. So then, like I was talking about, the ocean is going to do the creative editing on that right of speech that people have to be able to write that in the sand. It's not damaging any property. That same free speech I'm exercising and going worldwide with what I believe is the truth. And what ends up happening is there's a good bit of curiosity when people see what I'm doing. They want to know what it is. Well, they can go to my channel if they want to. I had 3 young men come on out to my our house last night. They were on skateboards. They wanted stickers, and we talked for a while. It was pretty cool. It was like later at night, and they were very curious. So they saw the Truthmobile. So right over in the view there is the water tower, and we live about 7 miles away over there. The left to right, the horizon there, is the Myrtle Beach skyline. Yesterday's broadcast was on Facebook, converted to a YouTube out of the top parking ramp there. That one right there. We can see all the angled slanting. That's the drive I took up. And where I've shot a lot of video from as well. So I have carved crosses in the sand out there. Oh yeah. I'll just let the tide do its activity. That's what it does. All right. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in pretty tight on the moon right now. I can feel the pier moving a bit. If you don't see the magnification, I'm speaking to an audience later watching this after it's posted. There will be a P1000 recording merged with it on my liked videos. I've never seen a satellite between me and the moon or the sun. I can zoom in really tight on the moon. If there was a reflective material up there like aluminum foil, an aluminum foil space module, I would see it. Maybe even a flag. It's not there, and I've got a friend who says, no, you wouldn't see it. Okay. Well, we don't have any telescope views of it either, as far as I'm aware. I've seen a lot of highly magnified views of the moon. There's no space stuff up there. No man-made space traveling devices up there. Okay. Oh, one of the young men mentioned Alfred. He sounded like about 20-something. He said he was a time traveler. And then the other young man wanted to know about lizard people. He was wondering if I was going to storm Area 51 with about 500,000 other people. I said, that's crazy. There's no way I'm going to go to a military base and demand to see what they got going on there. Are you kidding me? I'm not crazy. We're not crazy. That's what my wife Jody says. That's what all crazy people say. Well, I'm just sharing the truth. The truth sounds crazy because we're designed and programmed to believe that. 2 kids stealing a bicycle is a conspiracy. What do you call it when artificial intelligence programming is creating a false reality in the imagination of the collective consciousness of humanity? How about that? So as I walk further over here, it gets there's a different sound because of the shape of the canopy, and now I'm a little downwind. It's blowing up over the top. It's the aerodynamics. Camered up right there. We're all major camered up. And then all of our cell phone data tracking, the speed our phones are going. I talk about it. I remember going to a family reunion thinking, wouldn't it be funny? It was around Bike Week. We've got motorcycles that come here to Myrtle Beach that'll go over 200 miles an hour. No kidding. I've seen them. Talk to these guys. I've been interactive in the bike weeks for for at least 5 years since about 7 years since I've had the motorcycle. Adrenaline is a neurotransmitter that's pretty exciting. That's why there's a lot of thrill seekers. That's when I stopped racing pro-level motocross. Do you think I was going through with some withdrawals? That's part of the excitement of procrastinating for the more cerebral accountant waiting to the last minute to get his work done, or the student procrastinating, or the person going 150 miles an hour down the highway. Yeah, how about that? One of them can get you in a whole lot of trouble. How about that? So, like when I got up this morning at like about 2:30 to come out here today, I took a photo of the moon, and where it came up in a relative position to where we are, I'll show you. Okay, so we live over there. Where I saw the moon come up was over this direction, and now clearly it's setting over there. Let me put the compass on that. and show you. So I've got a video the other night of the moonrise with the moon up right about there from the vantage point of the parking ramp. So I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to show you what it is about. 138 southeast. And now it's setting right over here. So we've got the moon setting in the southwest, the sun setting in the northwest. We've got the sun rising in the northeast. Here's from this vantage point. So I'm gonna, as best I can, I'm thinking it's gonna show up right over in that area there. Let's bring it up. So what I'll do is I'll show you based on my compass reading right over in that area. I believe it was like 58 or so the other day I showed it. Right in the middle of the view on both devices. And then setting at about 303 or so. So it would be like right over here. Northwest, 308, something like that. I'll read the comments when I get on out. I can't even read them right now because of what I'm doing. I'm not upset that you're chatting. That's all good. So we've got two distinct movements of the celestial bodies clearly visible. I documented it today and for years. If you wanted to chase through the data stream, you could see it. In the summer, the sun is coming up over here. In the winter, it's coming up over there and running a low path in the sky from this vantage point. Bam. That's what it does. Based on the law of perspective, there's the sun popping right there, right where I shot. So here we go. Job 37 talks about the sun being in the midst of the clouds. That's what it is. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? It depends on temperature. That temperature variant drives the hydrologic cycle, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. The purification of the environment we live in, the activity of the water, and in our bodies as well. There's some pretty thick clouds up above, so this may be all I see for a while for this recording on the P1000. I only get like 28 minutes at 30 frames per second. It's adequate. So what I wanted to do, excuse me, is zoom in real tight on the hard edge or the leading edge of the sun right there, showing that it's not just shooting through the cloud, it's the edge of the sun. Wow, look at that. There it is. No mistaking that. Okay, so now that I've established the location there, and let's, I'm going to do the compass reading once again. You'll be able to see it with more precision on the P1000 recording. And I'll go ahead and zoom in with the iPhone 10. It's just pretty grainy. We don't have the magnification I would like to have for that. And once again, no curvature on the horizon, the x-axis. Yeah, if you think ships are vanishing over a curved Earth, you're deceived. Oh well. We don't live on a spinning water sphere, whether you like it or not. The Earth doesn't move. The sun, moon, and stars do. The wind moves. The people move about. Knowledge is increasing. We're coming to very likely a close of civilization as we know it. AI can shut down the power grid wherever, whenever God allows it. God is still sovereign. He's still in charge, even though people are carving "I love Satan" on the sand. They're carving it in their skin. They're living their lives as though they really believe that, and they do. He'll satisfy temporarily the flesh. Eternity, seeding for eternity, smoking or non-smoking. Hey, I'm just glad to be a child of God that's actually born again. There's a whole lot of phony Christians. They're Christ followers, and apparently in their own mind they're just deceived and they don't know it. All praising Jesus and living lives that don't reflect that proclamation. And that was me. That's why I talk about it. Now we can't see the sun. Now we can see the effects of it up above. So I was a religious hypocrite. I would have told you I cried, I repented, I had an experience. I wasn't born again, even though I worked at a full-time ministry and volunteered at a mega church. Yeah, none of that meant that I was actually born again. So as the moon drops lower into the moisture, into the humidity, it's going to be harder to see. Now I had a really interesting happening this morning. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. The Truth Mobile has got a black interior, black exterior. I've got a digital thermometer, tested the temperature. It was over 185 degrees inside, and I just closed it up and left it there last night. Went on in, left it there, didn't air condition it, left it closed up. Normally it would be pretty warm in there when I go out in the morning. It was 78 degrees outside, and it stayed warm last night. Well, when I opened up the car, it was cooler than the air around it. I noticed it immediately. And one of the situations is that the moon gives off its own light. It's her light. And the Bible refers to the sun as masculine and the moon as feminine. And the moonlight is several degrees cooler than the shade of the moon. Just a few clouds will block the sun. That's why we can't see Europe from here. So the reason why I mentioned that, there we've got a cloud near the moon, but I don't know what we'll see. I'll show you. I've got video and photos of the sun, or I should say the moon and the clouds as well. I've got like a dozen terabytes of data. That's more than they lost for the moon landing hoax. How about that? They're lying. I ain't buying. We're coming up on the 50th anniversary of the moon landing hoax. that year I was 7 years old, and I got aware that Santa Claus was a fantasy and this flying reindeer. Hey, I saw it on the radar coming over Lake Michigan. Yeah, my parents reinforced that lie. So did marketing, music, television, all kinds of programming to support the Santa lie. How about that? Well, I'm outing Santa as well. I'm going to show us what I can of the sun here. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
There it is. That worked out pretty good. I'm running right to the end of my recording with the P1000. I'm going to keep it going. If you hashtag local sun, you'll see it. And it doesn't run, my recording here doesn't run right to the end either. It will chop up a little segment off and have it as like a short little video clip. I don't know why it does that. But this looks good enough that I'm going to go ahead and fire up the camera right now. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so I've started another recording with the P1000. Clearly clouds behind the sun, just as Job 37 proclaims. The sun is masculine according to the Bible, and the moon is feminine. And what I want to do is quick zoom on around and see if I can show you the moon setting from the same vantage point. There it is. That's about as good as I'm going to be able to show you. If I zoom in much more, I just wanted to establish the location. I've got the compass readings on the previous video, and you can look at it if you want. This is more of a documentary. If you want to hear pretty relaxing music and watch it, I don't have any problem with that. I actually merged an audio Bible with the beauty of creation to give people an opportunity to hear the truth, what I believe the truth is. Jesus identified himself as the way, the truth, and the life. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? So I heard Nikola Tesla ran about 20 hours awake a day. That's about what I do. I didn't invent all the stuff that he did. I admire his creative genius. He gave credit to God as well. Would he leverage the technology I'm using right now? Absolutely. He helped bring it into being. And I've got a lot of friends that help with what I'm doing. We're working together to expose the reality of the world we live in to much of humanity that appears to be distracted and deceived. By irony and paradox, that's how it works. When people want to immerse themselves into a pleasant distraction, there's going to be a massive amount of deception waiting for them. That's how it is, best I can tell. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refused to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. And then there are some very proud theologians that'll say, well, that's out of context. Well, I believe I've got it in context. And so if you have concerns with my theology, cosmology, sociology, you can message me, you can call me. All my content is publicly available as far as I know. I had to block somebody yesterday. He called me a moron. I interacted with him a few times, sent him information. He's got Satan stuff on his page. I don't know. Maybe he carved the pentagram in the sand. I don't know. Just because somebody has a location where they say they live doesn't mean they live there. So to know what I do, to be aware of the human trafficking, the drugging of humanity, the military-industrial complex, the DARPA, the CIA, the NSA. I meet people like that work for those organizations. All of this is being monitored right now. In fact, if you're watching the live stream, AI knows it, knows how many minutes you've watched of whatever content, whether it's mine or somebody else's. And the reason why I'm not afraid is because, well, greater is he that lives in me than he that lives in this world, the fallen one and his children and his family. So there are people that haven't been born yet. Not only haven't they been born again, they haven't even been born the first time. So we've got abortion that apparently last year killed 42 million people. And then we've got a death count of about 58 million people, 3 people per second that no longer have the human experience. Keep in mind, AI is modifying the weather, the food chain, the food supply, public opinion, getting people to do its bidding. It's writing its own programming. I hear people that are experts in AI, whether it's Sam Harris, Elon Musk, Nick Bostrom, Ray Kurzweil, talking about, one day AI might have emotion or a conscience. It's wicked, but it's kind of like a gun. A gun isn't necessarily good or evil. It can be used for both. The Word of God can be used to set people free, and does. Not everybody that hears it is going to be changed like I have been. And therein lies the issue. I wanted to know why some would be born again and some would not. Now I clearly can't see where the moon is there. Because of the moisture. Well, for example, I can't see, and I'll zoom in on it right now. Can't see much of Myrtle Beach. I'll show you. It's about 25 to 30 miles away. This is a curved, like it curves in here. That's why a lot of the storms go around us. They'll hit the Outer Banks. We've got modified weather. AI is modifying the weather, adding particulate, conductive material, electrifying it, creating wildfires in California. Yeah, we've got man-made warming, climate change. I would call it weather wars. Imagine if you could modify the weather and create drought and floods, and purchase up the farmland that people don't live on anymore because they're too dead, committed suicide, or lost the farm and had to move. I've got friends that pastored in areas where there were a lot of suicides in their congregation. Back in the 80s, when the financial system was manipulated to create such high interest that the farmers couldn't pay their bills. So a lot of corporate farms grew because the little family farms couldn't pay their bills. Another way of manipulating that is by manipulating the price of commodities, which AI also has for a long time. So this is a great local sun view. You can see it later if you want. Yeah, I'm the guy that caught it, and it's been viewed like 750,000 times through the Infinite Earth, Flat Earth Research, and many other occurrences of that one video. On my channel, that that video has only about 2,000 views. However, in its other forms, the same exact video has been viewed over 750,000 times. So it was a cold, rainy day. When I was recorded at the first Flat Earth Conference, I and many others whose names you probably would recognize. And so there's what I would say is a veritable or a virtual spiritual smorgasbord within humanity, especially in the area where people realize that we've been lied to. And then there are many that believe that Christianity or other religions and other religions are also a control mechanism for deceiving and manipulating. And I would say religion in general is very divisive and manipulating and mind controlling and people controlling. And so is Christianity. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be a new creature in Christ. I've got a new operating system, to give the computer vernacular. I'm plugged into the omnipotence of God who created this world, the all-knowing omniscience that is another attribute of the Creator. You might not like his morality. He has some commands, and one of them is to love one another. Another one is written in James. God is the author. He spoke this world into existence. Do you think he can have a person write down what he wants him to? Yeah. Hello. If he couldn't do that, he wouldn't be God. Anyway, in James, he says, if we don't do the good we know we ought to, we sin. And then in Romans, where Paul wrote, as inspired by God, where the discussion of should we eat meat or drink wine, well, anything that's not of faith is sin. Now I'm looking at a shiny spot of a little hunk of sand there where the sun is reflecting off of it, the water. This is a sea level liquid mirror. So the sun and the moon are much closer, within, I believe, a few miles of Earth when we see them. And I don't know how it exactly works. I'm believing that the Bible is true and is God's word, and all others are suspect. Some people love that about the reality, about my proclamation of it. And some people hate me and that proclamation. Oh well. Oh well. You can examine my digital footprint if you care to, see what I've been up to. I care enough about people to tell them the truth. I do it a lot of hours a day while I'm awake. And then this young man that I was talking to about time travel, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I've done something similar to that. He was talking about stepping in a plutonium shell and some kind of energizing and traveling to different years. I said, well, no, I don't have anything like that going on. What I do have going on is when I listen to the Bible, when I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming, he sometimes takes me to the scene of what I'm listening to. So I was actually at the crucifixion in my dream with the awareness of what was going on. Even Satan didn't know what was going on. If he did, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have wanted to crucify Christ if he knew that that was part of the plan of salvation. Hello. God knows the end from the beginning, or he wouldn't be God. He wouldn't be all-knowing if he didn't know that. So what I've made an effort to do is go ahead and tell you where I'm coming from, what I believe to be accurate and true. Sometimes I'll just show the beauty of creation and not talk. And I don't have to continually have my face on the screen. I don't need to do that. So if you want to listen to something else because you don't want to hear what I have to say, by all means, that's certainly your prerogative. The other feature is the unfriend, block, or scroll on by. That works too. But you see, the reason why I do this is because I believe it matters for eternity. So I'll just leverage what I believe to be true and accurate and share that with people because, well, I'm not trying to upset the people that hate me or hate God. I'm wanting to reach out to the people who want to know the truth. And therein lies the, oh wow, I'm gonna zoom in on a little baby and the mom and dad. Wow. I don't know if you saw that. How sweet. All right. And we have 3 adult sons now. So I know what they look like when they're really young. That child looked to be within 3 months old or so. We came out here vacationing from Wisconsin, also from California. My first job was carrying buckets of milk and shoveling manure on the farm when I was 10. Like I mentioned about the fake moon landing, the moon landing hoax, I watched that. I remember having my right hand on the TV and I was adjusting the aluminum foil on the black and white television, and it had rabbit ears on it, and we would put aluminum foil. That's why I wouldn't be putting any aluminum foil on my head, a tin foil hat. It's conductive. They're putting aluminum in the deodorant, putting aluminum in the air, that in the atmosphere. Oh wow. So there's a toxic level of saturation, and my bathing in the highly purified reverse osmosis carbon filtered drinking water is a perpetual detoxification, because there's pesticides and fertilizers in all the vegetables, most of the vegetables I'm eating. I can't afford to eat organic, and how do I even know what else is in there? I don't know. We've got documentaries. One of them called The Great Culling shows the fluoridation of the water supply to stupefy humanity. It's not for teeth, it's for making people less perceptive, dropping their IQ and reducing their ability to to critically think. How about that? Yeah, that's what's going on. It's to make people stupid. Oh well, that's what it is, baby. That's how it rolls. That's what's going on. And then another documentary by Anonymous, and they've got the spinning globe in their logo. Oh well, I put sharing and hashtagged my liked videos to show them plenty of biblical cosmology. I don't know who Anonymous actually is being run by or what. It's probably an AI component, as is very likely Q, very likely Elon Musk with his neural lace and all the different, he's giving, Elon Musk lies. I hashtagged that in a title and talked about it. Launching a car, a Tesla Roadster, into space and landing booster rockets back down on their pads because they're so expensive. Come on, that is such a lie. Well, and I know he's kind of a funny guy at times, making a flamethrower or, being on Joe Rogan and smoking dope with him. Hey, they call it dope because it activates the dopamine receptor. It's pleasurable. So I'm out of the chemical straitjacket. Go figure. I used to smoke dope. Smoke it, vape it, made my own e-liquid. Not doing any of that anymore. I wouldn't be able to do any of this if I was doing that. So I'm a free man sharing a message to set others free. Now we've got more direct sunlight hitting the buildings, easier to see them. I'll just zoom in on them. So rather than try and debate people that have their mind made up of how stupid and deceived flat earthers are, I'll just continue to compile content for people that actually want to know the truth about it. Do you want to know the truth, or do you want to just believe the lie you want to believe? Because you'll be able to do that. God will even help you do that. Isn't that special? Yeah, that's why I believe it's only by God's grace anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. The events of 9/11, clearly an inside job. Hello. We've got a lot of documentaries about that. And then there's ridiculous conspiracy theories that are intermingled with the reality of the truth of some of what we know. We don't know it all. I don't know it all. Don't claim to. I just know enough to know that they're lying and I ain't buying. Same thing with NASA. I don't have to, just because the NOAA can give me projections of tidal activity doesn't mean we live on a spinning freaking water ball, a water sphere. I talked to an engineer. He's a surveyor. Evidently, he found out that from his measurements, the Earth isn't as the diameter isn't what they're saying. He came up a couple thousand, I believe it was a couple hundred miles short. I'm like, how did you measure that? It's as ridiculous as NASA telling us what the temperature of the sun is. Come on. How's that knowable? We had suns that wouldn't allow us sometimes to put a thermometer in the mouth. We had to put it somewhere else. How in the heck? That was before they had the digital ones that you could shoot it in their ear. Yeah, they probably wouldn't mind that. Anyway, the point of it is NASA presents themselves as the experts. And then we've got theoretical quantum physicists that are meandering off into explanations and formulas that do not reflect reality. Oh well. Some of what I say, I've seen it on memes. I've created memes. I'm going to see if it works with, yeah, that's part of a meme. I don't know how it'll show up. Now, let me get my hand out of the way there. When a meme isn't enough, let there be memes. Lots of it. The inverted view. Let me zoom in on a boat here, upside down. I showed beach renourishment upside down. All the water we interact with, taking a shower, washing our hands, using the great outdoors to relieve ourselves, whatever, all the liquid, and the things seek their level. A rock will fall through the air and fall through the water. A helium balloon will float. A bird can offset their weight by exerting force against the atmosphere. Propellers on Mars? Come on. How would rockets even work in a vacuum? Show me all the evidence of rockets working in a vacuum. Oh well. A hammer falling. Here's the hammer and feather. Yeah, stick it up your arse. You guys are liars. You got all kinds of fakery. Nassholes, George Carlin called them. These social criminals I call nassholes. Yeah, how about that? Ooh, we're coming to the end of my second recording here. Some interesting cloud interaction in the sun. The higher the sun gets based on the point of perspective changes the appearance in the clouds. When it's high in the sky, noontime, I've never even noticed it. It's just when it's low on the horizon, that's all. So one of the things you could do if you like is to scroll through my videos, because on my videos I've got, it's the chronological, I believe, posting of those videos. So you can look through the years of my activity if you care to. And if you want to know how to command to copy and paste, move your cursor up into like the address bar of what you want to copy, click on it, hit Command C, and then go ahead and click the cursor where you want to put it, and hit Command V. Command C, Command V. When I learned how to do that, I told our son, David, who taught me how to do it, I said, wow, this world will never be the same. And I can assure you it's not, because my content got dropped into the mailbox of a lot of haters that I had no way of sending them my information. And the one of the things that my daily activity of showing this is to direct people to my channel so you can see documentaries that I've found and shared. So if you don't want to create a vlog like this, no problemo. Just go ahead and click like on a video and make that liked video playlist available for people to look at if you want to. If you need to hide your identity, good luck with that, because you won't be able to hide it from AI. You can't hide from God. You can hide from Santa because he's not real. Satan is real. Okay, so in the middle of the view, I'm showing you right now on the P1000. Look at how the light beam is interrupted because of the clouds that are right up there. Okay, and I'm going to pan down and show you. There's the hot spot where direct sunlight is hitting the water, and then it's interrupted. Look at that. There you go. One more time nailing it. That's what I do. I'm not doing it because I'm so smart. It's because I love doing what God created me to do. Actually, I believe creating mind-blowing content. By that I mean to help interact with people in a way that they can see the reality of the world we live in. I believe that the truth and reality are interchangeable. Okay, so I've shown the interruption of the light there. Now what I want to show you is the direct light that's shining over the top of the clouds and hitting these buildings here. You can see that direct hard light hitting the buildings. See the shadows on the buildings from the other buildings? You're looking at billions of dollars worth of infrastructure and structure. Then we fade off into, can't really see much of the skyline there. On a clear day when it's low humidity and the wind is right, I've got plenty of content to show that. So what I'm going to show my P1000 audience and you once again is my info. Hashtag my name if you care to, and YouTube Truth to send a powerful evidence to the censors at Google, YouTube, Facebook, all the AI, artificial intelligence. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Call anytime. My number is 1-843-504-1776. My address is 169 Cloverleaf Drive, Long, South Carolina, 29568. If you want some stickers, send a self-addressed stamp envelope and I'll send some to you. All right, so that's 2 P1000 recordings. I'm gonna throw a new battery in. I get about an hour of recording with that. I'm not going to do another, at least I'm not planning on doing another recording with the P1000 at this time. I'm going to take a few pictures to commemorate this time. Right in front of you, that hot spot down below the clouds. So seeing is believing. What? What do we see? And what do we believe about what we see? Can we be tricked? Oh yeah, how about that? Yes, we can be tricked easily. I know I have been. So we've got plumb and square. We've got the structure right in front of your eyes there. A level horizon, vertical structure. Oh, you know what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a picture of that with the P1000. It's got a landscape grid on it. Let me make sure that's all in my view. Good morning. If you would like to see the sunrise zoomed in really tight, you can see it. I do a lot of video out here. You might enjoy it. Where are you all from?
Iowa.
Hey, welcome. We moved from Wisconsin about a decade ago. Yeah, great time to be here. Hope you enjoy your time. You're welcome. And so that's one of the soft ways of just briefly interacting. I don't do that with everybody. It just is a nice way of they may go there and look and see and that. That's how I do that. Oh yeah. I wonder how the writing on the beach is holding up. Let's see. Working our way on down there. So when I see drips of water and all that, it's just a reminder that that's how it works. All of it. It's just what it does. It's not rocket science, because rocket science is largely science fiction, baby. How about that? Yeah, that's how I roll. I'm telling on them. It's show and tell. So when when I've been right in the parking lot there, wow, we can see the reflection of the buildings. Kind of cool, huh? Even yesterday, when I asked Siri what my elevation is, I got a different number. Not like a foot difference, but when I was in the coastal preserve, the reading I got was 260 feet above sea level. I was within a couple feet of sea level, within 20 feet, easily. And then the people I was talking to were from Durham, I believe it was, North Carolina. I said, hey, why don't you just see what Siri says the elevation is for you? They got different numbers than I did, like 17 feet, 20 feet. 260 feet. Okay. So with the law of non-contradiction, all those different readings can't be right. So as I mentioned yesterday, if you were artificial intelligence and you were on board an airplane and it's on there, and there are planes that have crashed into the mountains, it'd be an easy way to neutralize a threat, wouldn't it? Just give a false reading or take the plane over. There are planes that have been taken over. You can look it up. I've got it on my liked video playlist. The company name, the documentary of them all being grounded within the last few years, right there, about that. Did you know about that? They had a system of control on the jet that they did not tell the pilot it could take over. It sent them right into the ocean. Yeah, crashed, boom, gone, done. They can't fog a mirror anymore. How about that? So does any of that matter? Well, I'm sure it matters to the people that were on the plane and the family members. And then there are those that'll say, I don't want to talk about 9/11. I lost family. Yeah, we all did. One big family of humanity. I've got brothers and sisters in Christ, I'm sure, died then, on that day. I'll take another shot of that. You should be able to notice the difference. Wow. The other thing I'll do is compare my video production, the quality of the video of the live YouTube video compared to the Facebook broadcast that was converted. I do it both ways sometimes. All right, I've just activated another P1000 recording. So yeah, I repeat myself, and I'm telling you why. The way it's shooting out of the clouds there, pretty special, pretty interesting. If I don't capture it, I can't show it later. So this is show and tell. I'm going to zoom out real quick. Look at how the light shot over the top of the clouds. Job 37 says that the sun is in the clouds, in the midst of the clouds. You can look at different translations, different versions, if you care to. So the moon sat here today. I've got it on a previous video, and it came up over the ocean here. So the moon came up over there and did that. Meanwhile, the sun came up over here and is going to set over there today. Came up at about 58 northeast and it's going to set around 300 south or northwest. Two different movements. I just wanted to mention that for the other recording as well. There it is. Good morning. Great, thank you. So for the viewers on the P1000 where I just zoomed in, when I walked out here, I'm going to comment on what I saw. A pentagram that said, "I love Satan," and it was right in the middle of the view, and we can see the swastika of still part of it is left there. And one of the reasons why I want to talk to that and talk about it, yeah, I'll unpack that for you. I'm going to go where I can put the light in it a little bit better, and you can see the remainder of it a little bit more. Somebody did come along and try scratching it out. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Both of them. So here's one of the things that I want to mention. There are people looking down the way over here at this situation and me. They could have been the people that tried stomping it out or scratching it out. I'll do what I believe Jesus created me to do, and that's what I did. I took us on down there, showed the, hey Gerald, good morning. He's my friend that was an executive at Caterpillar. He's also on some of my kite surfing videos. If you hashtag kite surfing, you'll see Gerald there on a hydrofoil kite surfer that's all the way down by the pier there from this location. He actually worked on the diesel electric cats that were out here for the beach renourishment. Like I said, I've got a photographic memory. Doesn't mean I remember it all. It just means I remember some pretty friggin' interesting stuff. So my dad sold steel to Manitowoc Engineering that made tunnel boring machines that he told me about in the 1970s when Nixon was being impeached. He looked like, he was a pretty thin guy. You can see him on my Motocross King video. It was right around that was in 76, that video. Nixon was getting impeached a few years earlier. But anyway, he said he went down in an elevator, kind of like Get Smart. Remember Get Smart with get off of the elevator? Dun da da, dun da dun da da. And then we had order and chaos. I believe that, no, we had control and chaos. Remember order out of chaos? The Swiss Family Robinson and Lost in Space and all the programming. It's all been programming. So what do we do with that? What do we do with that programming? Well, I'm simply exposing it for what it is. And I would say now that I'm obediently walking with God to the best of my ability, Him empowering me to do that, I get to enjoy life rather than try and figure it out and make it work on my own. The beach renourishment here brought in about 5 feet of sand. They would bring in the equivalent of 1,500 dump truck loads per hour with 2 dredging ships, and they would move it around with the diesel electric cats, and it was Great Lakes Dock and Dredge. You can see it if you want to. So a lot of we've got a whole local contingent, like the surfers that comment on some of my posts in my channel, and they'll go out there and they'll look at things, and rather than us getting into like a debate, I'm zoomed in right now. I can see a hot spot on the sand based on perspective and direct light of the sun hitting it, shooting over the top of it. We can see the crepuscular rays down low. So what I was saying about the social dynamic of having a library, a truth library. My name on LBRY is Truth. Isn't that special? Same thing as YouTube. That's the name of my channel, is Truth. To get there, though, I needed to help clue people in on typing in the hashtag. That's how that works. Another one of the clues, that strip of dripping. Where did that come from? Came from there, and it came from there, the air conditioning unit. That temperature differential is what causes condensation. Same thing on a car. So I'm very likely going to put a water recovery bottle on my air conditioner for my car, so I can, and have it inside the cabin of the car, so that I'll have bottled drinking water. It's an atmospheric water generator is what it is. I mean, it's a pretty elaborate system. That 94 Lexus brand new was over $40,000. We paid $5, about 7 years ago. I have riches beyond what this life has to offer. New life in Christ, freedom from drug addiction, alcoholism, my own self-effort. That's why I do this. That's why I talk about it. I've got different video where I've noticed what appears to be aerodynamic interaction between the object of the moon and the sun. Wow. You can look it up yourself if you want to. Good day, Ron. So we should have the title activity right here. There it is. I have it on my phone too, but I'm using the phone for the broadcast. See all the, oh, imagine that, the condensation is out here. So are you open to the truth? Yeah, it's not working so good, but you get the concept. I could do it better here. Truth. Good morning. So just as I've shown, I had the fountain there that puts out about 35 gallons per minute, shown up in a video with one of the dredging machines out there, the ships, pumping out a massive amount of water as it's going along. We can see the sand in the bottom of the whirlpool there. So one of the reasons why I'm not too, and of course we've got all the condensation on the non-insulated glass right there, that's obvious. Because of the nature of sweating and a lot of liquid coming out of our bodies in the form of sweat, I have really no interest in jumping in a whirlpool with a bunch of other people's sweat that has a smorgasbord of chemicals in it, pharmaceuticals. My dad, shortly before he died, was on over 13 medications. And a lot of seniors, like when I would go to the Myrtle Beach Aquatic Center, most of them are on a whole bunch of medications. And so I wouldn't want to jump into a whirlpool that's got that going on in it. Just think about it. So I don't shower with tap water. We've got a whole house double carbon filtered system, and then I run my drinking water through reverse osmosis carbon filtration. They've got a great buffet up there. I can smell it coming out of here. It's a symphony of a culinary delight. Good day, Sally. Okay, so we can see when I first came out that the sun was there, now it's up there. Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? You know, there's just some basics. The holes in there will fill up with water perfectly. They'll all be flat and level. There would be no level anywhere if we were moving. So what I'm going to do is cut the P1000 but keep the other one going. So my cooler in here, I can throw some purified ice in there, have it for drinking water later, and keep my camera from getting 180 degrees or hotter. Or I can keep some food in there too. Feel free to reach out anytime. Okay, so I'm going to continue to take us for a ride. Thanks for sticking with me on the broadcast here. All right, so let me see. And then I'll activate my power pack. This one has the cordless charging, so I can just lay my phone on it to charge later. I just have to tether it when I can. And I'm going to use this as a talking point. Elon Musk was he was on 60 Minutes Australia, documentaries on my liked videos, and they showed how they could solve the energy distribution problem there. I like having the door locked. Yeah, anyway, so they've got peak hours. The daytime climate control is the biggest energy user in humanity. Climate controlling spaces that we live in. That being said, I've got a documentary, or actually information about the 3D panel construction, steel reinforced, wire welded, insulated panels that can withstand wildfires, hurricanes, and blast ratings. Yeah, so if you wanted to have a safe house, you could make a whole envelope of your house impenetrable to most things. Storms, fires, that type of thing. So what they have is like 3 inches of 9,000 PSI concrete on each side of a 4-inch foam core panel that's wire welded, and 50 caliber Barrett sniper rifle can't penetrate it. I know my numbers, I know my facts. I just am not going to regurgitate the official deception anymore. When we homeschooled our sons, I knew the official lie of the globe. I just didn't know it was a lie. The spinning water sphere. How about that? Okay, so the tide is coming in. It came in probably about 1.5 feet or 2, I believe. And now I'm going to take us back around to the view of the coastal preserve. You'll be able to see how the amount of time was, and you can just scroll through. So it's more than a time lapse. It has some benefit where I can actually talk about it and show you how it looks different. And depending on how much water is in, I might be able to show you the whirlpools going under the road or next to the culverts that run under the road. Some people give the example of toilet water spinning as evidence of the rotation, the supposed rotation of the earth. There's my friend Wyatt. Got the wave from him. See, it's easy to see the truth mobile. I'm going to take us out there. I just have to do it right, where I'm not turning around in the middle of the road out there. So the signs are all around us, right? Signs to stop, go, yield, turn around. One of the VEAMs that I put out is over at the Coastal Preserve. It says dead end, no turn around. Well, when you're dead, you can't turn around. You can't choose differently. Truth and reality, I believe, are interchangeable. So one of the other things is, I don't know how many views this video will end up having in its lifetime. However, the views of the car also count. The views of people seeing my shirt and me and ending up going to my channel. There you go. That's kind of how it works. So the people running, jogging, bike riding, they'll come on by. So I have video and photos. Wow, there's a lot of fish right there. I can see there they are. Where this is like almost perfectly glassy, but the wind is coming out of the southwest from right now. There's the bird that I talk about seeing. He's a regular. It's on my yesterday video. Hey buddy, how are you? So actually it may sound kind of silly. Do you think they remember me? I would think so. I don't know for sure. I can't ask him. He doesn't fly away. I'm not going to go throwing rocks at him or anything like that. Ah, I see one whirlpool. That's why I have to wear an active wear. Not having the right equipment can be a problem. So I've got video showing the whirlpools going in opposite directions. The one on the left here normally does this, and here we've got rotation right there. It's starting. And it's not because of any supposed movement of the earth. It's because of the shape of the container and the flow of the water. There it is right there, showing up on cue for me. Bam. Look at that. So actually this whirlpool is, I believe, helping to create that one. And there you go. So like, I don't need to show that for a long time. That's sufficient. But like I said on my other video, you can see it. Hey Bob, cue up the spinning water sphere clip so we can show people that. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. We don't have real-time videography from space of the Earth, even though we've got, good morning. Even though we've got the technology, they don't want to show what the Earth actually looks like. Except in the imaginary view from the fake station, the ISS fake station. How about that? They're lying. And they're using powerful technology to do it. So when the wind blows over the water, it'll create ripples, and sometimes the reflections allow us to see better than others. All that on the top of the water there, we've got little fish coming up. And then big fish will come to eat them. Here's our whirlpool again. We actually had an 8-foot bull shark caught and released in this area after he cut the head off, turned him into fish and crab food. Yeah, I'm good with that. It's not inhumane. I would rather have the shark get eaten by the fish than a person get mauled by a shark. That's just the kind of guy I am. There you go. So some people's exploration of cosmology is to look at toilet water and NASA footage. Wow. They might need to open up their scope of investigation. How about that? Yeah, how about that? There you go. I like to mix this up with a little bit of humor. It's not about the evidence, it's about the individual. That's how that works. One of my commenters said, Robert should get out on the street more. I didn't delete the comment. They just weren't aware of that. Not only am I on the street, I'm on the net, and I'm all over the world, and I'll go to special events and all of that kind of thing as well. I am always looking to do what I do better. So when I wave at people like that, and they can see that I'm videoing them, they may want to go to my channel and say, hey, I wonder what's going on there. What is that? And that's part of the deal. Rather than me yelling at people and that, we see that. Some people use megaphones. I know Alex Jones did. He used the megaphones. And then the other thing is, there's pretty compelling evidence that he was actually Bill Hicks before his Alex Jones character. Yeah, you can look into that. ODD TV. I've got that video on my liked videos. You are the controlled resistance. I never, what I'll do is I'll listen to my video and see how my voice matches up to who I'm wanting to impersonate. You can't handle the truth. I just want the truth. Oh, I need to throw my where are my Ray-Ban lookalikes? I used to have 450. I still do. Lineless bifocals. I don't need vision correction anymore. They were Ray-Bans, very expensive. I just prefer the $20 polarized lookalikes. They actually work better. Yeah, I got them from Costco. They're called Puma. How about that? There you go. I just want the truth. Yeah, I don't have a good Tom Cruise voice for that. But we kind of looked like each other when I was 30 years younger, and he was doing the Rain Man, and I was, I don't know what the heck I had going on. Something else. It was the old guy. Now, Robin Williams and I have a couple of things in common. He tried killing himself and succeeded, apparently. Wow. I'm going to let these people go. And it was right before his apparent suicide and subsequent death. I say apparent because I don't know for sure. The other thing, right after his suicide or his death, I was born again. Reformation Day of 2014. The other thing we have in common we had in common, we were both diagnosed with bipolar, and we were both struggling on and off of psychoactive treatment, medication, pharmaceuticals for the modification of our perspective. The other thing we had in common is we both lived out in California, and my brother plaster casted both of our faces. My brother worked in Hollywood, ILM studios with Lucas on Star Wars, later Raiders of the Lost Ark, all of that. I turned down an acting career in Hollywood because I didn't want to compromise my integrity. Now, I wasn't born again. I just didn't want to trade, because at that time I actually thought I was born again, and homosexuality wasn't something I was interested in, even though there were certainly individuals that wanted to help me along in that area, as in the acting couch. We look at Harry Weinstein, and Harry is his name? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what a bastard. And then we've got Steven Spielberg, apparently a pedophile. There's a lot of evidence of that. Then we've got, gosh, I could name a whole bunch of names. But anyway, I'm going to digress back to what happened to me. When I looked in the mirror and I saw an active drug addict and alcoholic, not like I would be obvious to a lot of people. I knew, the hidden me knew. I was wondering, hey, I thought I was supposed to be free from all of that garbage. I couldn't do the good that I believed I should do, like James said, and I was doing things that I believed I should stop doing. Wow. There was incongruity. There was inconsistency. So I had to know why, and I wanted to know why more than anything else. I've been asking why for a long time. Why did you lie about Santa Claus? What was that all about? I remember asking my parents that, and when I found out, I wondered, what else? What else are they lying about? So I remember my dad and I in the workshop. We built things. I carved wood. We built the first mulching lawnmower with welders and cutting torches, and it went to market through Aaron's, one of my dad's clients. So he called on race car component builders, Oshkosh Truck. They make a lot of the trucks you see that are military, okay? If I were to go to Oshkosh and talk ill about the military industrial complex, that would go over like a lead balloon, a Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they were one of my favorite bands. But anyway, all of that stuff, I've got a very interesting life. I've lived a very interesting life, and I'm not saying like I believe it's coming to an end soon. I would have no way of knowing that. I just know that I really enjoy doing what I get to do. And one of the other things, these are Sennheiser surround sound. You can look it up if you want to. And it's the equivalent of the big earphones and a microphone connection, so I can monitor my voice. Otherwise, it's like having my fingers or cotton stuffed in my ears. It's got a transparent hearing feature. So I try to do this well. I try to do it effectively. That's why I do it. Why would I do it half-assed? I'm all in on it. Like I told Logan Paul, we interviewed each other. He had my truth sticker, my old truth sticker on his forehead on the video. You can see it. I said, what are you going to do when the truth is right in front of you? I'm muted on that video. None of my comments will be seen there, or on PewDiePie, Trigger Tro. Now, on that, not exactly normal. Dylan actually gave me quite a bit of talk time, and my comments were visible to him anyway. He loved my comment where I thanked him, and I shared my link of my liked video playlist with his version of the conference was at the place. When he clicked on it, he would see it there. So sometimes I'll do that. I'll hashtag my name. My YouTube channel called Truth has my name and phone number, or has Truth and my phone number there. My name is there. It's kind of hard to see. The thing about hashtagging my name, it's a click away of seeing a whole bunch of activity because I care. So the families that have the little babies, are they going to vaccinate them with toxic chemicals? Are they going to spray toxic sunscreens on them that have neurotoxins in them to mess up their brain? I've got a mosquito swatter that'll zap mosquitoes with thousands of volts and neutralize them. Oh, there goes the Elvis truck. Thank you very much. That's not the porta potty truck, but that's the dumpster. That's actually waste oil from deep fryers. They're picking up with that or delivering. Anyway, the bouncing all over, hope you don't mind. I have some people that love it, some people that hate it and hate me. Oh well. Rather than try and please everybody, which is impossible, and rather than trying to please myself, which didn't work out well, you can hear my comment to Logan on that. He said, "You mean masturbation?" I said, "Yeah." And then I made a video hashtagging mental masturbation. It's what a lot of people do. They see things in a way that makes them feel good about their perception of it. They're believing the lie. Apparently, they want to believe. How about that? So part of what happens is people are afraid of questioning their reality, or they'll discredit somebody else, and then that makes everything they're talking about no. Oh, I don't need to consider what that whack job is saying. I'll just go and watch something else. So anyway, what else did Robin Williams and I have in common? Well, we tried, like I said, he actually succeeded at killing himself. In 2005, when Hurricane Katrina was pummeling this world, a modified storm, by the way, I was recovering in a suicide ward in Neenah, Wisconsin, on the 3rd floor. And the reason why that matters to me is because I found out that the pharmaceutical modification of my perspective actually exacerbated or made drug addiction worse. It blocked the dopamine receptor. And I was on Prozac and Depakote, and it made me suicidal and homicidal. How about that? Isn't that special? That's why I won't take the drugs anymore. Why in the heck would I take stuff that made me not want to live and mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore? That's where I was, like the Howard Beale from Broadcast News. I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. Well, that's, there's enough material for a deep fake on me. They would have no problem doing that. You can hashtag deep fake. It's they can make anybody say whatever they want with their own voice and apparently their own persona. It is so wild. So it's all going on. We're all being tracked, traced, database, threat assessed. The fact that I'm willing to put my life on the line to expose the reality to a world that largely, for the most part, apparently doesn't care. It's potentially life-threatening in one respect, and yet I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I was struck by lightning out there at the point in Cherry Grove. It was a test for me to see what I would do. God already knew. He wanted me to see what I would do when I believed he wanted me to keep on recording. So there you go. Why would I do anything else than what he wants me to do? Well, sometimes I still sin. Sometimes I still decide to do something my own way, knowing I'm rebelling against him. It's just rare, very rare. Because it doesn't satisfy. It doesn't satisfy. It never did. It only gave a little temporary pleasure, just as Scripture says. So what would it profit a man if he were to gain the whole world and lose his soul? So when I park on the driveway, I'm going to at least show you apparently oh, there's a Porsche. Wow. Oh, he's an asshole. Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, oh, look at him go. Can I zoom in on him? Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, he had to do that. That's about $120,000 Porsche there. My dad and I used to go to Elkhart Lake. Yeah, closed course racing. When the diesel Audi came out, it totally mopped up on everything else. It isn't just how much horsepower you have, it's how much power you can transfer into movement, how much torque. Torque is what really drives. Set the track record, the Audi 10-cylinder diesel. So I ended up getting a 4-cylinder diesel Volkswagen, had it chipped, modified in a race tuner in North Charleston. There were Ferraris and Porsches out there. I averaged 55 miles per gallon driving from Myrtle Beach to Northern California. That's where my friends had the pot farms. I would go the weed fields. They But anyway, I averaged 55 mpg. I was going out there to get loaded, and I would measure the fuel that went into the tank and that I used, and the miles actually driven according to my odometer, and it meshed perfectly with the estimated fuel economy that I was supposed to have based on my computer measuring of my car. Okay, that being said, when I got to the mountains, the Smokies and the Rockies, my fuel economy would drop down to 10 to 12 miles per gallon, a 5 to 7% grade. How could I average 55 mpg coast to coast over 2,500 miles? How could that be? In that distance, there's over 650 miles of missing curvature, 325 up and down. My car couldn't have climbed a 30% grade. How about that? It couldn't have done it, let alone get 55 mpg. Kansas is flat. Texas has got a lot of flat in it. So I'm at sea level basically. My driveway here is roughly about 10 feet above sea level based on what I observe in my drive in relationship to the ocean, as well as the data that I'm able to evaluate. See, if my reading here was a couple hundred feet, I would know it's wrong. Now, in the middle of the country, how could I know? I'm not next to the ocean. I'm not next to sea level. So I don't know. I just know I got some weird readings, and I talked about that when I was in Wisconsin. Did some video there. Hey, that's amazing. This is where I did one of my best videos with the spinning globe there. So here's what I did. I put the phone in the freezer to cool it down. I wanted to show you what I do here. The water is seeking its level. I'm overflowing my water bottle. This is reverse osmosis. That's the system that I use. Dean's all about it, aren't you, Dean? He is funny. Oh, and there's Lily. These kids are so cute. We've got 5 of them. Yep, wakey wakey. Time to wake up. All right. So there you go. And let me show you a couple of things. One of them is I like to give them a lot of fresh water, and it's illustrative also of my videography and photography. No movement on that whatsoever. Until a cat sticks their face in it. If you want a water sphere, you need a container for it, like that. We can see the how it's tipped, or I can. Hope you can too. Yeah, the water's flat and the dresser is angled. That's just what it'll do. What about all the chemtrails? Well, I got a whole lot of oxygen generating plants. That's just what I do. The water evaporating, that's liquid oxygen and hydrogen. A lot of plants. This is a pool table. Oh, I think Smeagol is in here. Oh, there he is. Hi, buddy. Yeah, yeah, he sneezes. That's why we got him. The people we rescued him. He's adorable. Anyway, I got a lot of lights around, a lot of mirrors. They help me see things from a very different perspective. And it may seem a little bit weird. It's not so I can see myself. It's so I can see all around. I can see, like when the moon came up there today, and then it did that. Oh, moon's up. Got to go to the bathroom, take a shot of the moon. So I do. That's what I do. I can have a big screen TV, and I do. And then I can see it right there if I want to. That's all part of the deal. Couldn't have even a friendly game of billiards. See the ball stop and stay? It's level. There you go. Reality exposes the impossibility of the globe, the spinning water sphere. Yeah, it's just the way it is. So if I leave that door, the inner door closed or open, this will all fog up just like this one does. And it'll take more energy to climate control it. So there's a gentle breeze there. I can see it. So a wind chime can be a conversation piece. I had the surveyor ask me if I've done any measurements. Have I done any measurements myself? Well, I measured across country with a vehicle. Climate controlled computer estimated on it, fuel economy. He told me about, he had asked me a question about plumb lines. Should plumb lines be parallel? I said yes, they should be. And then he went into this long, elaborate explanation of how they weren't, and it somehow proved we were on a spinning sphere. And he told me the electronics he used. I said, well, your electronics are wrong because there's up and down, there's vertical. That's what it does. The garage is vertical mostly, and the wind chime hangs that way. Where in the world could a wind chime hang anywhere upside down, right? So there you go. So I want to show you a couple of things. Got video within the last week showing the sun setting right over there. And I'm gonna cue up my compass here so I can show you. Okay, so the sun came up right about in the middle of the road, which is 58. Let's see, 58 northeast is where it came up. Same reading I showed you out on the pier, and it's up here now. And then it's going to do this and land right over there, right about there. And that is what? Let's see. Right about close to 300, right over there. Okay. Meanwhile, the moon came up over here last night. I saw it, full moon. Bam. It's just what it did. So that's part of my evidence. It's two separate movements, two distinct movements that are actually opposite of one another as best I can tell from what I notice. So yeah, I do measurements. I'm just wanting to show you the reality of the world that we live in. Gosh, that's not popular for some. They want to be distracted. So this is my truth cycle. It's got a couple of gyroscopes there, a shaft drive for smooth power transfer. The crankshaft is rotating, or the flywheel is rotating in the direction with the wheels, and it's all really cool. And I've got some skills to operate it. If there's bad weather around, I prefer being in the car, for obvious reasons. But it's fun, and I can park it in a lot of places. The lighting is a big deal. So I got these from Walmart. They light up really good. Can't tell as much right now because of the greater light during the day, but still they pop pretty good. So not only are the lights brighter when I'm doing this in a roadway, well, I'm in and out of people's blind spot a lot more. So I'm not weaving like a drunken sailor, so to speak. I'm actually putting myself in a bigger view, and it just works good for me. Hey, good morning. So there you go. So last night the young men with the skateboards came on over. They wanted some of these. So there you go. I gave them to them. They might even be watching right now. Thanks for sticking with me. Your public and private encouragement is much appreciated. I got a funny story to tell you. There was a little helicopter-looking bug on the car yesterday. He's about that big, and he was on. I should have showed you. He was on top of the car, and I thought, he'll probably fly off. I drove all the way from the pier to here, and he was still here. And it's not like he was stuck dead on there. He stayed for the ride. But just to be clear, aerodynamics, the air goes up over the top, and right about where he was, there's a little vacuum right there, right where if I open up my sunroof a little bit, it'll draw air on out of it. Aerodynamics are a big thing. I'm really good at sensing movement. Got an aptitude for riding jet skis, boats, any cars, motorcycles, any of that kind of stuff. When I started riding a two-wheel bicycle, I asked my dad when I was 2.5, I said, would you please take the training wheels off my bike? I didn't know that was ahead of the curve, pun intended, behind the curve. Yeah, I don't need a ring laser gyro to prove we don't live on a sphere. Reality does that. There you go. So anyway, yeah, I started riding a bike when I was really young, not because I saw the other kids doing it. They weren't. When we taught our sons to ride bikes, they were a good bit older, but that's just the way it was. But anyway, it doesn't mean I'm better. It just means that I have a different view of things, a different, I haven't had that, that limiting factor of nobody else is doing it, why should I? I've always kind of had that perspective of how can I do it better, and that's an interest that I've had. So that's why I keep on doing what I do to help people realize the truth. What is the reality of the world we live in? So when I'm done here, I'll go ahead and put the link in the video for LBRY. And eventually when my files all are transferred over to the blockchain technology of much less regulation in the censorship. That's why I'm going to LBRY. I'll still stay on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, all of those as long as I can. So there you go. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth and the Truth LBRY Truth.